Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I want to talk about what's been going down in my neck of the woods, in my backyard here in California. I'm talking, of course, about the protests going on and the ICE raids and all this stuff. Before I get into this, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below this video. It really helps with the show's algorithm. I greatly appreciate it. So here is what is all going down. ICE, for those who don't know, I can't imagine that you haven't heard, but ICE conducted raids on Friday of last week. May have been other days too, but Friday I know for sure. This was in Los Angeles, California, and they raided first a Home Depot parking lot. So, they're arresting people who are there trying to find work. These are not lazy people living off the system. These are people who are trying actively to get a job and make some money. And they arrested, as my understanding, I think it was more than a dozen immigrants at that Home Depot. That wasn't what led to the big uprising, though. What happened was that, and why these protests really kicked off, was because ICE raided an elementary school as the children were doing a graduation ceremony. Parents fled, kids were crying. So take a look at this video. This is what a teacher said. This was a TikTok video that he posted, I believe. He works at a nearby school. He doesn't work at the school where this happened, but this is what he had to say about what went down. Check this out.
Gratas, I believe elementary, was having their graduation. And all of a sudden, a bunch of parents have to run out because ISIS is there. This is the story that I'm hearing. And, our school goes on lockdown. Our principal, tells us it's a drill, but we know it's not a drill. And, parents had to run out because they don't have papers, and they had to leave their kids because the kids do. What type of shit is this, yo? And then kids are freaking grabbing teachers and crying on their leg because they don't know if they're about to see their parents when they get home. What the fuck is this? And we voted for this shit?
So, the residents obviously were very upset, terrified, pissed off. People started flooding the streets. They went to a government facility where I believe ICE is housed there. They also went to the town hall. At one point, the 101 freeway was shut down. If you know anything about California, if you live here, you know that is one of the busiest freeways in the entire state. Next to the 405, that freeway is just constantly inundated and full. So protesters shut it down. Initially, though, everything was peaceful. It's pretty unclear who exactly was responsible for ratcheting up the tensions. Police say it was the protesters. Protesters say it was the police. I did see some videos online that make me think it was the police because there was a woman, she was running and she was recording herself, and she said that, we were just standing there. It was just a bunch of us. Police start shooting tear gas at us for no reason. And then there was another video that was on Breaking Points this morning of, I think it was an Australian newscaster. She was just standing there reporting. Like, she's clearly not with the protesters. She's not doing anything wrong. She had her back to the police. She has a microphone in her hand. There is obviously a cameraman recording her. And as she's talking into the camera and recording, the police turn towards her, shoot her in the back with a rubber bullet. So they're out of control. Things escalated. People started throwing things at the police. They started throwing things at their cars, which 100% I am against. You cannot give the Trump administration or the MAGA crowd the ammunition against the left. Just do not do things like that. It is wrong no matter who does it. Don't do it. And then protesters were calling for Waymo pickup, which anybody who doesn't know, those are self-driving taxis. So they were calling for these cars to come pick them up, and then they were lighting them on fire. Again, they're self-driving, so there's no human in there, but still, don't do this. Just do not do this. The optics are terrible. It is not something that we want. And, we shouldn't even care. I mean, not that we shouldn't care that people are doing these things. Like, these things are wrong. I don't care what side you're on. You shouldn't be doing things like this. But we shouldn't care what the right has to say, because honestly, aren't these just peaceful protesters? Aren't these just tourists? Aren't these people just taking a leisurely tour of Los Angeles? Right? Isn't that what we were told about the violent protests, the violent protesters on January 6th? So, yeah. Anyway, Trump called in the National Guard. He violated the state's rights, California state rights. Typically, the National Guard is only called in at the behest of the governor, and the governor did not call for them because LAPD had it under control. Everything was fine. I mean, not that it was fine, but they're perfectly equipped to take care of the city and take care of themselves. There are many, many stories, many instances where the LAPD has been accused of and proven to have a bunch of racists on the force, a bunch of violent people, not the best people. They're not hiring the best people. There are some good people. There are some good LAPD officers, but there are some bad ones as well. And what strikes me is that Trump could do this in California. He can call in the National Guard in another state. But when it was January 6th, when his people were violently attacking the police, violently attacking the nation's capital, causing millions of dollars in damage to our capital that we all pay for as taxpayers, he refused to do the same when he was sitting in the Oval Office in DC at that time while this was all going down. And he refused to call in the National Guard. And then MAGA likes to blame Nancy Pelosi for it when Donald Trump was the freaking commander in chief that day. So, and then check out this hypocrisy. This is a video of Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, the puppy killer. Check out what she had to say about a president doing this exact thing. But of course, it was during the Biden administration. Watch this.
People ask me why, when I heard the news, I immediately the next day was at the border. And it was because of what I heard Democrats encouraging the president to do. They were encouraging President Biden to activate our National Guard soldiers so that they would stand down. He actually was going to take control of our South Dakota National Guard and actually activate them so that they would not protect America. So recognizing the real threat that was to states' rights and how that would be the first time in history a president would pay a soldier to not fight, to not protect our country, made me show up in Texas the next day to let Governor Abbott know, I'm here. South Dakota is with you. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend our rights, because the last several years we've seen the Democrats take away our freedom of religion, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech. We can't let them take away our states' rights too, especially our right to protect ourselves.
So the hypocrisy is just astounding. I mean, for her to say, oh, we had our rights taken away. We were, we had our First Amendment rights stripped from us. We couldn't peacefully protest. We couldn't peacefully assemble, blah, blah, blah. Are you freaking kidding me? This woman is not only silent about what Donald Trump is doing right now, but she is complicit in all of this, with him arresting people for trying to exercise their First Amendment rights. He is imprisoning people for months. Mahmoud Khalil is still in prison, or in jail, I will remind you, or in an ICE detention facility, simply because he was protesting against a freaking genocide. That other poor girl who was just grabbed off the streets by masked people without any idea of who they were or who they worked for. No insignias on their clothing, no badges, nothing. And they just grab her off the street and held her for how long? Like a month or two. All because she co-wrote an op-ed in her school newspaper about the genocide. I mean, They are beyond hypocritical. It's sickening. And Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, he is now threatening to arrest the California governor, Gavin Newsom, and the LA mayor, Karen Bass, if they interfere with these, ICE raids and everything they've got going on. He's kind of trying to backpedal on this. He's like, beep, beep, backing it up because he realizes he overstepped. Imagine that, though. Imagine if a Democratic president, if Biden or if Kamala Harris had won, imagine if they said, you know what? If a woman in Louisiana tries to get an abortion and the governor of that state tries to interfere, or if the police there try to stop her, we're going to arrest the governor. Their heads would explode. They would lose what little they have left of their minds. So I want MAGA to remember this moment. I want you all to remember that this is what you allowed. This is what you co-signed. This is what you have either remained silent about or that you have actively supported. Because I have seen the most heinous, vile posts on Twitter from people who just didn't get enough hugs as a child or didn't get enough participation trophies or whatever the hell happened to them, that they are just me, mine, so freaking selfish, cannot share with anyone, don't want anyone to have anything that they have, so insecure, watching their Fear News Network nonstop, obviously, and they are all for this. They are gleeful. They are so over the moon excited and happy that immigrants are suffering right now, that they are being tormented, and that children are crying when their parents are being taken away. They are literally laughing about it and joking and saying, yes, this is what we want. This is exactly what I voted for. These people are sick SOBs. So yeah, I think it's time for a national divorce, because these are not people that you can commune with. These are not people that you can reason with. These are not people that have any conscience, any empathy, any feeling, human emotion whatsoever. It's like they're cyborgs. So yeah, how do you break bread with people like this during the holidays, right? They're inhuman. They clearly are. So anyway, guys, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.